Thanks for joining us again. This is Barry Kazire. Get ready for some real live marketing. Are you a small business owner that is confused over your accounting records? Accounting by Art can help you eliminate this confusion with a free initial one-to-one consultation. Art offers QuickBooks training seminars covering both QuickBooks Desktop and QuickBooks Online, as well as addressing your specific needs and questions. Visit accountingbyart.com and set up your free consultation today. Hi, and welcome back to Real Life Marketing. Today my guest is John Notgrass. I'll introduce you to John in a moment, but what he's going to be speaking to us about is Facebook advertising. Facebook advertising is a great, fantastic tool that many businesses can use to develop a huge amount of prospects for your product and service. To supplement this, I'm going to talk to you right afterwards about one of my favorite books and tools for marketing testing, which you can use in conjunction with Facebook advertising to make the most of it, and that you can also use with many other marketing efforts. Stay tuned till right after the show, and I'll introduce you to this book and this tool that will definitely make your marketing worth it. But for now, here's John Notgrass and some real live marketing. Feeling lost with accounting, bookkeeping, or payroll for your small business? Accounting by Art offers a free one-on-one consultation for the state of your business. Art Stump has years of experience helping small business owners with their accounting needs. He also offers QuickBooks training seminars covering both QuickBooks Desktop and QuickBooks Online, as well as addressing your specific needs and questions. Seminar participants also get a free 1-hour office visit after the class to be sure their QuickBook issues are solved to their satisfaction. Mention this ad at your consultation and get 10% off initial services when you sign up and pay for your first month. Visit accountingbyart.com today and get started. Welcome back to Real Life Marketing. We're sitting here with John Notgrass, and tell us a little bit about your business, John.
Sure. For the past 15 years, I've been working in the homeschool publishing industry, work with my parents, and they're the primary authors, and then we have some other family members, and I'm the business manager and oversee our advertising, inventory management, the website, and so that's my primary work.
That's great. I didn't realize your parents were the authors. That's fantastic. So they do. They must do a lot of research. Mm-hmm. That's incredible. So were you homeschooled yourself?
I was. I went to public and private schools, and then I was homeschooled at the end. That's how I finished up high school.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, I've thought about actually purchasing some of your history books because I couldn't stand history when I was in school. Mm-hmm. But what I found, and a little educational tip for people out there, is that when you don't have a purpose for studying something, you don't really retain it very well. And there's no zest for studying it either. But now I've got a purpose for studying history because you understand when you're studying history, you're understanding people's minds and decisions, group dynamics, economics, and the effects of economic decisions. You're studying different political situations and what results those things have. Mm-hmm. So it's actually a fascinating subject now that now I've got a purpose of being interested.
Right.
So that's great. So yeah, I have to pick up some history books. But you do a lot more in history books. So all sorts of textbooks, right?
History is our primary focus. We have some art and some other topical studies, but history is our bread and butter.
That's great. And you stand here before me today in World War II regalia.
Sure. So I love history, and something I do on the side is what I call first-person history programs, where I step into character and tell the real story of real people. So today I did my grandfather's World War II experiences. He was in Europe in the medical corps, and so I have his uniform and photographs that he took while he was in the service, and so I do a program based on his experiences.
That's great. Well, you guys should do a podcast. That's you could do one yourself with just
Right.
different history people that you're enacting on a weekly basis. That's fantastic. Okay, good. Well, good. So so we're here today to talk about Facebook advertising. Um, so pay per click is what we're talking about, which is basically you see those various ads within Facebook, either in your news feed or off to the side where people are advertising, and they get you to click on those ads so as to bring you down a sales funnel to the end of purchasing or some other conversion possibility, some sort of possibility where they maybe collect your information or they get you to sign up for something, or ideally directly to a purchase. That would be like an ideal situation, although it's not always the exact right way to go. You don't necessarily want to go directly for the purchase in every situation. So you've been doing Facebook ads, and how long have you been doing Facebook ads for now?
Really just started the past couple months. I had been researching it before that last year, trying to figure out some of the ins and outs and dabbled in it. But then the past couple months, I've figured out a way to generate leads. I've been using it primarily to get people to sign up for our email newsletter, and that's been successful over the past couple months.
Great. And that's a great conversion strategy. Usually people will do some sort of an ebook or a white paper or signing up for the newsletter. And it's I've signed up, I'm sure today I signed up for one or two newsletters, and because I'm interested in getting more information about what they do, and I'm considering purchasing. And then that, sometimes leads me to a purchase, sometimes it doesn't. So you've been pretty successful with collecting up email addresses?
Yes, it's worked really well. This past couple months, I've gotten over 1,000 people each month to sign up for our email newsletter.
Wow.
Which is a big boost for us.
That's great. So good. So now 1,000 people each month. Now, how much money have you spent per month?
So our average cost, it's about 25 to 30 cents per conversion per subscriber. So, so what does that break down to? So like 250 per 1,000, I guess. Yeah.
Great. So about $250. You paid about $250 to get about 1,000 qualified leads.
Right.
So those are people coast to coast that are targeted by you and are expressing interest in your product.
Right.
So you what does your ad say for starters?
So the great thing about Facebook is you can really drill down to your ideal audience. You can look by age, gender, geographic location, and then all sorts of interests, including homeschooling for us. And we look for people who have already. And Facebook, of course, keeps all sorts of information about us and what we click on, who our friends are. So they're able to show our ad to the people who are most likely to respond to it if we give them enough information. So the ads that I have been running, it's an offer for a free history ebook that just introduces people to the kind of things we do, gives them some field trip ideas and information specifically about Laura Ingalls Wilder and the historic sites, the places she lived in the country. So that, so we get people, they see it and then they share it with their friends and say, hey, I love Laura Ingalls Wilder, you got to check this out. So it's not just the people we pay for, but there's organic reach too, because once people see it, they want to share it with their friends also.
That's great.
So it's a picture. Pictures are very important. You need to have something visual for people to look at, and then make sure they realize there's something they can do with the ad. And so Facebook ads let you put a button on the ad saying download or sign up, or so you can have a specific call to action that you want.
That's great. So you really researched into, like you said, Facebook gave you a whole list of possible demographics that you could choose through. And you really, knew your own demographic very well, obviously, and that was your starting point. And then you meticulously went through and just chose exactly who the people that you're shooting for.
Right.
And they even told you that some people who are interested in homeschooling.
Right. Yeah, you can. There are a couple different ways you can specify interest. Like Facebook has a long list of people who are interested in motorcycles, people who are interested in finance, just all sorts of things. But then you can also search for people who like certain organizations, like certain homeschool organizations, or even sometimes other businesses, in a similar industry. You can find people who have shown an interest in the kind of industry or the kind of product that you're looking for.
Yeah, that makes sense. So like I do a lot of talks on constant contact. So one of the things I could do is and we obviously constant contact's an email marketing system. So I could find people who expressed an interest in constant contact, email marketing specifically, and I could target them, or I could target, say, a particular industry that I felt like I could really help with email marketing, and I could go after them even more aggressively. And so I could do this. I could get people to sign up for my talks and come to my talks, and that's sort of what you've done. Something similar. You've given these people something interesting. From I remember the show Little House on the Prairie. I recognized the ad immediately when you showed it to me and who the person was. And so this is obviously an area of interest to homeschoolers because it teaches a more wholesome lifestyle. There's a lot of reasons they're interested in it. So yeah, so that's perfect, and then you're offering them a freebie, right?
If they sign up for our email newsletter. Right?
If they sign up for the email newsletter. And so it's a great and because they're homeschoolers, it's been designed specifically for them. So that's perfect. So what does your ad look like that you put together?
It has the descriptive text at the top. So the way the ad looks, there's a little text like a status update at the top, and there's a limit on the number of words, number of characters you can have. But that just says, learn more about Laura Ingalls Wilder and the places she lived. And then there's a photo, and then a headline, free ebook available, and then the button to download.
That's great. And so then people download the ebook, and then do they stay subscribed to your newsletter? Like what sort of unsubscribe rate do you have?
We, again, just been doing it for a couple months, but it seems like a lot of the people are interested. We try to make it clear you are signing up for our email newsletter, and we offer, we're going to be offering you more free history activities, history lessons. So make it clear what they're signing up for so they know what they're getting into. But we really haven't had a lot of unsubscribes. Just a couple of people said, "Oh, I didn't realize what this was," and they want it to be taken off. But we make it easy for them to unsubscribe just with a click.
Sure. So probably less than 10% of them.
I would say less than 1%.
Less than 1% of unsubscribers. So it's very qualified, qualified interest.
Yes.
Because you've targeted so
right.
well.
You target. The more you can target it, the more you can know that these are the people you really want to reach.
Great.
Because we don't want to waste their time by sending them something they're not interested in.
Yeah, exactly. Like one of the big things about selling, is give, give, give. There's a chapter in one of my favorite selling books. That's the title of the chapter, Give, Give, Give. It's about what you can give to people. And so you get people to give you their information. In exchange, you're giving them this great little ebook. But then you've also put together a quality e-newsletter that goes out every month, giving them more quality data. It's not just selling.
Right.
It's actually quality information.
Yes. So we send it out twice a month with another history lesson from history, and an activity that they can do as a family. Great.
And what kind of revenue have you generated from it?
From this particular marketing, I haven't tracked it. I mean, our sales last year were up about 25%, and they're up again this year.
That's great.
Just total revenue. So I don't have specific numbers tied to this ad, but
that's fine. Well, that's good. That's good news. So up 25% last year. Now you're up over that. You're up over an up year. That sounds fantastic. So so the e-newsletter gives them some great information, but then also provides a link through to like the catalog on the website, and so that they go to the website and they purchase from that.
Yeah. So when they sign up, it takes them to a landing page on our website where they download the ebook, and then it gives them some links to frequently, some of the most common pages on our site. They can request a catalog, or they can look at our videos that we've done, or go to specific products that we've written.
That's great. What's the plan for the next thing for Facebook? What are you going to do next?
Well, Facebook, they let you do different kinds of ads, and then they give you tracking code. So, if you want to try to direct people toward a purchase, you can do that, or signing up for your list, or liking your page on Facebook, or there are about 10 or 12 different goals, actions that you can aim for. So we found that our Facebook likes have increased by doing these ads, because people see they see something they're interested in, and so they like our page, hoping that we'll provide more content on Facebook. So for us, it seems like the email newsletter is a much better place to get people to sign up more than a Facebook like, because then we can keep in touch with them. Because Facebook does restrict, just because there's so much content on Facebook, we can't ensure that people will actually see what we post on our Facebook page.
Right. There's so much content. I mean, it's interesting though, just so you know, I found out the other day an interesting statistic that 80% of the content on Facebook is put there by 20% of the users. So, there is room for people to add content to Facebook. So you've grown your likes. So that is another place for you to communicate with those. Although I totally agree, collecting the email address is senior above having them like your page, because now you've got an actual contact point that's within your control. If Facebook goes away tomorrow, if there's some new, I don't think Facebook's going away for a while, but if Facebook went away tomorrow, you still have that email address. You own that. It's yours. No matter what happens in the land of social media, you've got that email address. So I totally agree. But it sounds like there is some room for some content. So do you post regular content?
We do. We try to post at least a couple times a day, information.
That's great.
Blog posts.
That's fantastic. So a couple times a day, I totally agree with that. 2-3 times a day, I think you can get away with. And it's all informative. It's about history.
A lot of it's about history or about homeschooling.
That's great. You've got a lot of great content. Good. So for your Facebook people out there, what else should we make sure that they know about Facebook advertising?
You can control your budget. You don't have to spend a certain amount. You can tell Facebook, I want to spend $25 a day, or I want to spend a total of $100, however long it takes. So it's very easy to control your budget and make sure, and you can track it. They have a great statistics. You can keep track of it by the hour, by the day, to know how your ad is working. And you can duplicate an ad and make a few tweaks, and so you can run 2 ads that are similar to do a split test to try to see
A/B testing.
which one is performing, and then you can stop the ad that's not working as well and just focus all your money on the one that's performing better. So I've done that, experimented with a different picture or different wording to see which one works best, or targeting a different audience. Like this last ad, I found that women between 40 and 50 clicked on it more than women between 30 and 40. So just, again, you can break it down even by age and target that way. That's
great. Yeah, split testing or A/B testing, for those of you out there that don't know what it is, it's basically taking and having, in this case, 2 different ads, and he's measuring the results. What's happening with this ad? There's some difference, some change that he's made. You change the heading of the ad, and you've got this ad going out with this heading and this ad going out with this heading. So you're watching the difference of response and conversion, like how many people are signing up for the e-newsletter. Another example of that type of testing is if you could do this with email marketing, and you probably do, where you could send out different subject lines, and you could see you could split your list into 2 arbitrary groups and send out 2 different subject lines. Or, as I recommend in my classes, you can also do the same type of testing with times of the day and days of the week to figure out what the best time is to send the e-newsletter, what the best day is. You've probably done testing along those lines too. So Facebook has that facility to allow you to do that testing. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So it's been fun. There's a thrill. I like to work with numbers and look at graphs and stuff. So it's thrilling for me just to track the numbers and see how it's responding, how people are responding from day to day.
That's great. Well, I got a great book that you'd love to read, and everybody should read, although it's a little dry. I'll warn you. It's a book called Scientific Advertising, and it's like one of the original books on testing. And you'd probably enjoy it. But fortunately, it's not that long of a book. I think it's about 90 pages. And you can listen to it. I think the guy is Claude Hopkins, I think is the guy that wrote the book. But that'd be great. It goes into testing. And it's great that Facebook facilitates that.
Yeah.
So that's good. Any other tips for your Facebook advertisers out there?
Amy Porterfield is a resource that I've learned from her. Social media. She specializes in Facebook, so I've gotten some good information from her.
Good.
And Michael Hyatt is another blogger that I follow who has a lot of good tips for people running small businesses and how to promote those online.
That's great. That's great. I'll just add one book then. Perry Marshall. He's really good. He's another great resource for exactly that. We actually we're Google certified, and we do Google ads for people as well as Facebook ads. But before we went to study what Google had to say, we first studied what Perry Marshall had to say, and we read his books and use them in the campaigns that we run for the people out there. It's not that hard either, is it? If you wanna figure out how to do it, you can figure out how to do it on your own, or you can hire somebody else to do it for you. But it's really not that hard. It's very lucrative.
Yeah.
I have a friend who's a dentist and is using it to get walk-ins to their dental practice. So we have a client too who does custom designer surfaces for like tables, walls, floors, anything you can think of. He does these over-the-top, award-winning artistic surfaces, and it'd be a great way for him to build a big email list, as well as which could turn into sales by targeting the specific demographic that he's looking for. But the big thing is really understanding your public to start with. If you don't know who you're shooting for, you could also waste a lot of money in Facebook.
Right. So Facebook also has, if for your Facebook page, you can look at the insights and get that demographic information of, like for us, it's like 97% women who like our page, and it breaks it down by age also, and lots of statistics about the people who like your page. So that gives you lots of tools for knowing who to target on Facebook. That's
great. But if you haven't been that active on Facebook and you haven't developed that, one of the things we're going to do basically is we're going to take his customer base and we're going to actually survey him and find out who these people are, the various demographics. Are they business owners? Or did they get the product for their business? How did they hear about him? So like you're really taking the time. I mean, if you have a Facebook page and you know that your public, the right public is coming to it, that's great. They put the data together for you. But if not, putting together your own database information so that you know who your audience is. So you have like a buyer profile or buyer profiles, pretty vital as far as a place to start. That's great.
Yeah, the homeschooling market is relatively small compared to the general population, but even among homeschoolers, we know that just the style of curriculum that we write, it's not going to appeal to every homeschooling family. So even beyond just homeschooling, you want to try to target it, find those families who are most like the ones who already use our curriculum, because they're the ones who are most likely to buy it in the future.
That's great. That's great. Well, good. Good. So, I mean, you even developed your own website and such too. I know we've talked a number of times, and we've given you our viewpoint and helped you kind of. Yeah,
you've given me some great tips. So.
Great, fantastic. I appreciate it. But I think it's so if you don't have the zest for reading and studying like your parents have developed, obviously with you, you can come to us. We'll be glad to help, and there's good companies that would be happy to help you. But we highly recommend knowing something about it yourself so that you can control what's going on. Because I think that it would be that much more effective if the business owner was involved. Even if they're not doing every single bit of it, they've got to be willing to take some time and get involved in their marketing, for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So you guys spend a lot of time. I mean, you personally spend a lot of time on the marketing for this business.
Yeah, that's a big part of my job.
Big part of your job. That's great, and that's great. So, fantastic. All right. Any other words of wisdom or tips for our people out there?
Great thing about Facebook is that it's cheap to run an ad, so you can experiment, and that's what I recommend. You just experiment, see what kind of response you get, and then do more of what works.
Great. All right. Awesome. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Barry. It's a pleasure.
So that was a pretty incredible interview with John. What a fantastic tool, and he's really put it to some serious use for his company. Now, the book that I was going to recommend to you is a book that I highly recommend that you read a number of times, but it's not just what I recommend. The book that I want to recommend to you is a book called Scientific Advertising. It's a book written by Claude Hopkins. It was written in 1923. But it's been cited by advertising and marketing personalities as a must-read book. I learned about it from David Ogilvy, And David Ogilvy wrote that nobody should be allowed to have anything to do with advertising until he's read this book 7 times. It changed the course of Ogilvy's life. This book is actually where the original process of split testing and coupon-based tracking and loyalty programs came from. In the book, Hopkins outlines an advertising approach based on testing and measuring. In this way, losses from unsuccessful ads are kept to a safe level, while gains from profitable ads are multiplied. Or, as Hopkins wrote, the advertiser is playing on the safe side of 100 to 1 shot. The book also contains information on how to write advertising that sells. There's a video summary of the book. It was built by Multimedia Online and is we've actually got this on our website that we're going to include. And if you're a fan of the show Mad Men, in season 1, episode 11, Peggy Olson actually reads in scientific advertising to prepare herself for work. I'll include in my show notes a link to a free online copy of the book and a PDF version that you can download as well. One of the tools that's discussed is split testing. This is something that we commonly use in email marketing as well as a number of other aspects of advertising. Here's an example of how split testing works. A company with a database of a couple thousand people decides to create an email campaign. Now, we take this 2,000-man database and we split it in half. We change the subject line for each email and we send it out. We send it out at the exact same time, and everything else about the email is duplicated exactly. The only change is the subject line. With the email program that we use, Constant Contact, we're able to track the results of these emails. How many people opened them, how many people clicked through on the various items within the email. And so we were able to see which subject line got us the best result. We can also use this with times of day to see what times of day got the best result with sending an email. But email is really just one thing that can be tested using A/B testing or split testing. The same types of tests can be done with Facebook advertising, Google ads, landing pages, and such. You might have to spend a little bit more time and maybe a little bit more money to do split testing for real, but in the end, the results can be incredible. Doing tests, having statistics, and doing an analysis of what's happening marketing-wise are all very important tools. One of the things that we offer here at Response is a tool called a marketing potential analysis. You can write me via reallivemarketing.com and ask for this consultation. It's totally free, and I'll help you find the holes in your marketing. Marketing is not just throwing a bunch of mud against a wall and seeing what sticks, or using a shotgun to get a better chance of hitting the target. It actually can be a precise and scientific tool. So contact me and let me help you do an analysis of your marketing, and I'll help you take it to the next level. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week for some more Real Live Marketing.